Kia is a brand that's on the up. No longer is it producing global cars built to a budget that never really cut it alongside the European elite. Now it's producing cars specifically designed for Europe that have better build quality, more stylish to look at, and improved driving dynamics. Throw in an attractive 7-year warranty, and it really does mean that opting for a Kia really does make a lot of sense. Now, one of the cars that's leading the charge is this, the Kia Sportage. It's a mid-size SUV that's as attractive on the eye as it is on the wallet. In fact, it's proved so popular that nearly a quarter of all new car sales for Kia was a Sportage. But remember, this is a highly contested corner of the market. So if you are looking to buy a Kia Sportage, which engine should you go for? What trim level? And what are the key things that you need to know before handing over your hard-earned money? Well, in this video, that's exactly what we're going to find out. This 2020 Kia Sportage is the 4th generation of the model and ran from 2016 through to 2021 with a midlife facelift in 2018. It came at the perfect time for the brand as SUVs for the road were in high demand. Customers loved the space and practicality that was on offer, not to mention the safety that came with owning a bigger SUV and that elevated king of the road driving position. But what made the Sportage so popular was its looks. It was one of the more stylish offerings in the class, with many of its rivals opting to play it safe on the design front. It had Kia's trademark front grille, swooping roofline, and those taillights that ran right across the boot. It immediately turned heads and had customers heading straight for the Kia dealerships. Inside the cabin has been really well laid out, but what's impressive is the ergonomics. All the buttons and controls are exactly where you'd want them to be, and they've got a real durable and solid feel to them without coming across as cheap. Some of the cabin materials as well are better than you'd expect from Kias of old. There's a touchscreen infotainment system at the top of the dash, which controls your navigation, your phone connectivity and DAB radio, plus some of the car settings as well. And it's logical to use and very intuitive. Now, when it comes to visibility, there's a really good view out front as well as these side windows. So pulling out of junctions is made a lot easier, as too is parking. Now, as you'd find in any mid-size SUV, you get a slightly elevated driving position, which is one of the main attractions for going for a car like this. The seat is fully adjustable, as too is the steering wheel. And there's also quite a few little nooks and crannies where you can put little objects, like you've got 2 cup holders down here, you've got a storage bin down here, and there's some decent sized door pockets too. Now, whoever's going to be in this car is going to find it a very comfortable place to be. Even taller 6-foot passengers won't struggle, even with this panoramic sunroof, which does eat into headroom. Now, one thing we will say is that anyone who sat in the back seat in the middle will have to contend with a transmission tunnel which runs down the middle of the car. It's not too encroaching, but it will be a bit of a pain on longer journeys. But it is something that you'll find on a lot of the Sportage's rivals. There are also some Isofix child seat mounting points on the 2 outermost seats as well. Now, when it comes to the boot, it's a good size and shape and can be extended by folding down those split fold rear seats. Now, the one thing we will say is there is quite a tall load lip, so if you find that you're quite often loading heavier items into the back of the car, or you've got a small dog that struggles jumping, then it's something that you'll have to factor in. Again, it's an issue that afflicts most mid-size SUVs though. It's not just an issue for the Sportage. Now, there's a wide range of engines to choose from, largely because the powertrain lineup was revamped as part of its midlife facelift. Pre-facelift, the big seller was the 114 brake horsepower 1.7 litre unit, but there were a couple of 1.6 litre petrols with either 128 or 174 brake horsepower. Sat right at the top of the diesel offerings was a 2 litre unit with either 134 or 182 brake horsepower. That latter one had some mild hybrid technology plus an 8-speed automatic gearbox. Now, after the facelift, that entry-level 1.7 litre was replaced with an all-new 1.6 litre CRDI with the same power output, as well as the addition of a 134 brake horsepower offering. The diesels were better suited for life on the motorway though, but that's not to say the petrols weren't comfortable there either. Far from it, but you'd see a much better fuel return from the diesel on longer road trips. Economy wise, the best one to go for is one of the diesels with over 60 miles per gallon for the 1.7 litre. But if you want petrol, then the lower powered 1.6 litre will average somewhere in the mid 40s. Post facelift, the 1.6 litre CRDI returns around 53 miles per gallon, or just under 50 miles per gallon if you go for the more powerful version. We'd say that the 1.7 litre diesel is the sweet spot and probably the best all-rounder and the one that you should be looking out for. What's it like on the road though? Well, it's surprisingly compliant. Body lean is well controlled, so you won't have rear passengers reaching for the poorly bags. And for many years, SUV models were afflicted with a lot of pitch and roll, which made it feel a bit like a sailboat in a storm, but that's not the case with the Sportage. Okay, it's not a car that's going to offer thrills down a country lane, but it will be comfortable, whether on motorways, country lanes, or lower speeds around town. It is worth remembering though, the bigger wheels you get, the firmer the ride will be. So, while larger alloys can add to the aesthetics, they can ruin a perfectly good ride. So it's worth checking to see what's on the car when you're shopping around. Now, the other thing that's really impressive is the refinement levels in here. It's so quiet, which is great news when you're traveling at higher speeds. There's barely any wind noise and the tyre rumble is well contained too. It does go without saying that the diesels are a little more clattery at lower speed, but then the same could be said for most of the competition. Now, the trim levels are pretty straightforward to get to grips with. They go from 1 to 4, with 1 being the entry level and equipment levels growing as the numbers grow. Just to confuse things though, there's a first edition, which later became 5 and then changed to GT Line S. Then right at the top of the spec tree is the GT line. So what are the key differences? Well, even entry-level 1 models are well equipped. They come with alloy wheels, front fog lamps, air conditioning, Bluetooth connectivity, DAB radio and cruise control. Opt for a 2 and you'll get bigger alloy wheels, automatic wipers and lights, dual zone climate control and reversing camera. The most noticeable change from behind the wheel though is the addition of a 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system, and that controls everything from the radio and navigation to the car settings and phone connectivity. Now, from 3 onwards, you start to see more luxuries added, like roof rails, panoramic sunroof and improved audio. Oh, and the infotainment system grows from 7 to 8 inches. Then the 4 will be welcome for anyone who spends a lot of time in the car, as you get ventilated and heated electric seats, all-round parking sensors, keyless entry and additional safety systems. 5 or GT Line S get automatic parking assistance, electric boot and wireless phone charger. And right at the top of the tree, the GT Line gets some more aggressive styling features and improved cabin materials. For many, the 2 or 3 will be a good one to go for, as it'll have a lot of the equipment that most people will need. The infotainment screen really does make a big difference. So what should you be looking out for when shopping around? Well, the good news is that the Sportages boasted an impressive reliability record, and of course, if there are any problems, that 7-year warranty will sort out any of the major issues. So the first thing to check is just how long is left on that warranty. According to our data though, the most significant and costly fault is the automatic gearbox, which can cost over £9,000 to replace. So The simple thing is, when you take it out for a test drive, just give it a good check. Make sure the gear changes are nice and smooth and there are no unusual noises coming from the gearbox. Other common issues include a window switch, which costs £660 to replace. Again, just give it a quick check. And the ABS wheel speed sensor, which will cost around £1,300. So just have a look through the service history and see if any of those issues have been resolved. For many families, the Kia Sportage will tick a lot of boxes. It's aged particularly well, but even looks aside, what you're getting is a well-built, well-packaged and usable mid-size SUV that'll carry 4 people and pooch along for the ride too. The key thing to remember is when you're shopping around to find out how much warranty is left, because it is transferable and it just gives a little bit of extra peace of mind, which is something that you really need when buying a used car. Which engine should you go for? Well, for us, we'd be more inclined to go for one of the diesels, and trim levels, well, we'd look at a 2 or 3, as it'll have most of the luxuries that you'll use on a day-to-day basis. Thanks for watching this used car review of the 4th generation Kia Sportage. We hope you found it useful. If you did, then please do drop us a like. And while you're here, click subscribe for more videos like this one and hit that bell icon so you're notified every time we upload a new video.